Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my top 5 palettes of 2020. So if you want to see the palettes that I picked, then just keep watching. These palettes are in no order, but the first palette I wanted to talk about is the e.l.f. Sugar Cookie palette, and this is what the inside of the palette looks like. It is really pretty. It is what I have on my eyes today. It's more of a neutral palette, but then you have that pop of yellow, green, and then you have those reds and oranges, which I really like. I just tried e.l.f.'s eyeshadow formula this year, and I have really been enjoying it. So I'm just going to do a couple of swatches for you guys. I'm not going to swatch the whole palette. Here are some of the swatches in the palette. I love the mattes in this palette. This chocolate brown blends out beautifully, and also the shimmers in here are really pretty. And this palette only retails for $10, which I think is amazing. So I do really like this palette, and I've been using it quite a bit, and it's like an everyday palette for me. So I really do like this formula. The next palette is from ColourPop. It is the Going Coconuts palette, and you can even tell from the packaging that I have used it. Don't judge the inside, okay? This is what the inside looks like. Obviously, I use this palette a lot. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but let me not blind you. I'm about to hit pan on this shade. There is a big dip in it. And then also on this shade and this shade. And I just use this palette so much. It is an everyday palette for me. I always use it. I use this shade every single day, which I'm surprised I haven't hit pan on it, which makes me really mad. But here are some swatches. Like, just look at that. Just swatch some of my favorite shades. Like, look at that. How beautiful is that? I absolutely love this palette, and this is probably one of the palettes that I would recommend the most. The next palette is the at Foresight Raw Beauty Kristi X ColourPop. I love this palette. This palette makes me so happy. I love to use this palette. I love every single look that I've came up with. And that's really what I want in a palette. I want to be happy every single time that I use it. I did do a video on this palette already, so if you guys want to check that out, I'd really appreciate that. So here are some of the swatches. I love this palette. I really do. I love the packaging. The formula on this is amazing, and it makes me, I'm excited to use this. Every time I open my drawer, I'm like, I think I'm gonna use it. But yeah, these are the swatches. I really enjoy this palette. Moving on to the next palette, this is the Made by Mitchell palette, and if you don't know who Made by Mitchell is, it's the brand, but it is Mama Mitchell, who's on Instagram. He puts like 3 M's in front of Mitchell, and he's a makeup artist from the UK, and I just love him. I love all of his looks that he creates, and when he came out with this with his brand, I was so excited. I think I'm gonna pick up more, but this is one of the palettes. Like, the packaging on this is beautiful, and then this is what the inside looks like. Again, the packaging is just the same, and then when you open it, it is full of color. I love it. I did a blue look the other day using those shades, or not that one, but I used those shades. Beautiful. I love this palette. I love this gray right here. That is so interesting. And then that one right there. But I really like this palette. I think I want to do like a 3 looks maybe with this palette. I'm not sure yet, but I've been really pleased with the quality of this palette. Look at that on my finger. Absolutely stunning. But these are what these swatches look like. I mean, come on, look at that. I've really been impressed. He has 2 other palettes. He has another big one like this, and then also a mini palette. So I might pick up both of those. But I've just really been impressed. And there's one shade in here that I have to swatch on my hand all by itself just to show you guys. Okay, so this is the shade that I'm going to swatch. And I'm just going to pick it up on my finger. Like, look at that. And then when you go to swatch it, oh my gosh, I love this. I can't say enough good things about this palette. My last palette is my most expensive palette. It is from McGrath, and it is the Mothership Divine Rose 2. I have used the crap out of this palette. This is a really expensive palette. It's a $125 palette, but I feel like I am going to get my money's worth out of this palette. Like, when I tell you I've used the crap out of this palette, let me flip it around. I have used the crap out of this palette. Look at those shades. Like, that one, you can see a little dip, but those two, like, I have used the crap out of this palette. I love this palette. For a while, I just kept using it and using it and using it, and I was like, I need to use something else because this is all I've been using. I'm not telling you to go spend $125 because that's a lot of money, but I have really been using this a lot. Okay, these are what the swatches look like. I mean, absolutely beautiful. You have the two mattes over here. Those are the only two mattes in the palette, which is okay, but I get a lot of use out of these mattes. So these are the two mattes, and then you have some shimmer shades, and this is more like a satin shade, but this is probably my favorite shade to put all over the lid. And then you have this multi-chrome shade. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but like here it's purple, and then like look, you can see like green and purple, and then in some light you can see yellow. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to, maybe right there just a little bit. And then you have this really special shade. I think that's what she calls them, I'm not sure. But it's really glittery, and the way it just glistens on the eye, chef's kiss. I love this palette. I don't want you guys to spend $125 on a palette, but if you ever wanted to splurge, I would definitely recommend this palette. I think the swatches say enough. I love using this on my eyes. Again, those were in no order, but I did want to mention, like, I went all the way from a $10 palette to a $125 palette. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on an eyeshadow palette. Like, this ranked up in the top 5 eyeshadow palettes for 2020. So that is it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I really liked coming up with my favorite palettes and swatching them all for you guys. So that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys. I did do a palette on this video